Hello, Chandler. I'm Councilmember Matt Orlando, City Council member. And it's no secret that 2020 has been a tough year for both our residents and as well as our businesses. But today I want to do a show just a little bit to share with you some of the things we're doing as we're partnering with our businesses in here to help us get us through this COVID-19 crisis. There's no secret our business has been suffering as well. So today I have two leaders of our city in our economic development. I have Terry Kimball, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, and MIRANDA, our Director of Economic Development here in Chandler. Both of these two have been working a while, for the last 6-7 months, figuring out what we could do to help our business community and getting good feedback from the business community. MICAH and Terry, welcome.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you again.
Good to be here.
So, Terry, I'd like to start out a baseline this program. First of all, I know you've done a lot of your organization has done a lot of work in surveying the business community out there and working with MICAH's group and sharing this data. Like anything else, before we go forward with the program, I want to know what the data points were, what the issues were, so we're making sure the money that we receive from the CARE dollars goes directly to those individuals and organizations that need the money. So can you share with the audience today a little bit about what your folks did over there and what your results were and your thoughts?
Great. Thank you for asking. We do a monthly survey out to our business community, whether they're members or non-members. We really want to hear from the overall business community what their needs are. And it has changed throughout the course of this pandemic. And the latest that we're still hearing is people need money. They need that financial money to keep the day-to-day operations, as well as PPE equipment. You know, that's an additional burden that has been put on their budgets that they have to purchase. And so how are those ways that we can alleviate some of that off of the undue burden off of these businesses? And we work very closely with the city's economic development team in sharing information and what we're hearing out there. And that's really been the key, also to help the city then pivot on what they're going to do, what their next steps are.
Yeah. MICAH, what are you seeing out there? What are you hearing out there as well?
Yeah, it's very consistent with what Terry has said. PPE continues to be a priority. Access to capital to fund operations is always the number one thing people are looking for. So between the city's programs, the federal programs, and the Maricopa County's programs, we're really working in partnership with the Chamber and other organizations to make sure people are aware that these opportunities are out there for them and they should take the 30 minutes, 45 minutes to pull together all their documentation and apply.
So on the subject of the programs out there, can you kind of give us a summary of what those programs are? Because we have about 3 or 4, maybe 5 different, it's growing, as you indicated earlier, the needs are growing. What are some of those programs? Give us quick detail, a little synopsis of what those programs are and how you qualify.
So on the county side, I'll kind of go from the county region on down. The county has set aside funding for businesses affected by the pandemic. And for businesses wanting to learn about that, I would encourage them to go to the county website as well as the Arizona Community Foundation, which is being contracted by the Board of Supervisors to implement the program. At the municipal level, we've done a lot of different things, and Mayor and City Council from the onset were like, staff, let's get out there, let's figure out a way to be creative and help these businesses. And so some of the first things we started working with were really just raising the awareness. Why is it important to support our local businesses? They're the backbone of our community. When we do fundraisers, everybody goes to the local businesses first. So there's a relationship there. So we really worked hard to communicate to the public why it's important to shop local and the effect it has. And that was through the I Choose Chandler campaign. As soon as we received state funding for business assistance, we rolled out the I Choose Chandler Business Hiring and Retention Program. And that program sets aside up to $10,000 per business for employee retention and hiring. And to date, we've given out a little north of $3 million. We still have funds available. Terry and I were just talking about that. Continue to let the public and the business know that we have those dollars. We also, in partnership with the Chandler Industrial Development Authority, have launched a PPE reimbursement program. So to Terry's point, a lot of these businesses have expenses associated with keeping their doors open, their employees safe, and their visitors safe. So the IDA is reimbursing businesses up to $500 for PPE expenditures. And there's been a lot of other things that the city council has really taken forward, like relaxing sign code standards. We want to make our businesses as visible as possible. And so we're really looking at every possible means to get exposure for our businesses.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're looking at too is extending business permits outside of their actual, as the weather's getting nicer now, we're looking at permits to expand outdoors. Again, I just came from California, and obviously the weather was nice there, and they had a really good scenario where they enjoyed business. They still did the social distancing. They still had that done. They had partitions up, but it was an enjoyable climate where the business can survive and still serve the customer base, but yet have a safe environment. Because I think, you and I, both of us, all three of us talked about this at one time. The key to this whole thing is feeling safe.
Correct.
If the residents don't feel safe, they will not go out there. And so the more we help the owners be creative and work with them to try to have the open doors, the better off we're going to be. How much of the IDA bonds are still being have been allocated roughly?
We're a little under 100,000, so we
Good.
still have $100,000 in PPE reimbursement eligible through the Chandler Industrial Development Authority.
Okay.
And it's a really simple application. It's literally a one-page application, your W-9, and just send in your receipts.
Okay, and we'll put the website on this as we go at the beginning or the end of this program, so folks could log in, and a phone number as well. Direct line to you, okay, Mike? Is that
Perfect.
right?
Happy to take
Perfect.
care of
Good.
it.
All right, we got that one handled. So yeah, that's been an issue. I know and to digress a little bit here, it's been an issue at the county level as well as other cities. I've been talking to council members, getting the folks to take advantage of these funding, and I don't know what else to do other than programs like this and pushing this out, and you're talking to your memberships and having seminars. And you got any other ideas, Terry, that we could be looking at?
Well, in addition with the IDA, we were very fortunate to also receive some funding to be able to, we host a weekly series that on our website, and people can ask questions. We bring in industry experts, whether it's from marketing assistants, how to pivot your business, whether it's a small business counselor, setting up those small business counseling appointments. This is all uncharted waters for all of us. And the better we can band together and work more collaboratively, the better off we're going to be as a community. And these weekly seminars have been very, very popular, and we're really listening to what businesses need right now. And so even if they can't join us, it's every Thursday at 10 a.m., but they're also on our website as well as our YouTube channel. And I know that the city's got a long list on their business resource page, as do we. And there's resources out there. People just need to ask.
Yeah, I agree. I do my best as well. When I do visit a business, I'll jot down a number they could call and say, hey, give these folks a call here now, whether they do or not. I know there's a hairdresser that my wife goes to. She was concerned about her rent. And I said, well, there's a program out here, and we're going to expand that program. I think we're going to talk about it next week about actually 1099 employees. So, because that's been another issue. Yeah. We have businesses that have 1099, or it's our consultant type of employees. And because by the definition, they don't fit that bill. So I like the idea that we're looking at these programs, we're tweaking them as we get the input from the community. So it's very important that we keep tweaking them. So I commend you and your staff for coming up and working with legal and some of the other entities to work that issue out. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I know the community does as well. Yeah. So Terry, you have a special program coming up, the I Choose Chandler PPE program. I know that was something that staff presented to us, Mike and his team presented to us a few months ago, and there was a few little things we had to get through, but you were able to navigate through that. So tell us a little bit about that.
We're working collaboratively with the City of Chandler's Economic Development Department, and the program will actually kick off, and it will be a kit that businesses that will have PPE supplies in there. And again, we've made it simple working with the city's economic development. It's a quick one-page form. You have to put your tax ID number on there, the city business registration number, and you have to sign a form. You turn it in, and then we just verify that information, and then boom, they can pick up their kit, and it is almost a $300 value that we are giving free to every business that is a brick and mortar here. And there's some, they have to have under 100 employees, but
Sure.
it's a great option for business.
Yeah, I think it's important as we do that too. Have we seen anyone from the like the malls or larger companies coming in with different ideas on how to distribute some of the PPE or some of the money that you have here?
So we're actually through the I Choose Chandler PPE program. Terry is collaborating with the mall as a distribution point.
Excellent.
You want to talk a little bit more about that? So we're kind of attacking two different issues with that. We're getting traffic through the mall, as well as getting the safety equipment out to our businesses.
So we will have set days and times where they can pick up their equipment, their kit, so to say, and it will be actually done out at the mall. And
Nice.
so it's a great way. And again, it's about the collaboration and the communication back and forth. And we just need to know what people need and what they want to be able to help get them back on their feet.
And that's really important because Terry's been doing these ongoing surveys. And so we're getting that information back on a monthly basis and taking that information and putting it into real world practice as soon as we have those opportunities. So what they've been doing on the surveying side has been able to really help us craft these programs going forward.
That's great. And I know we've been getting phone calls from other communities of how we're doing things and how we're doing. So again, we're leading a lot of innovation going on with these type of programs. And I also know that we've also put aside money for the nonprofit organization as well. I know it's a little bit sidebar here, but I think it's important for our citizens to know that the nonprofits got over $2 million, so roughly $2 million PPE and some help that they could do for some of the folks out there that really need the help as far as keeping their organization afloat and safe. Let's be honest with you. That's what it boils down to.
Councilmember, one other thing I think has been the key to success on this program is the turnaround time, where they actually get a check in hand, depending on what the program, whether it's the reimbursement program, less than 10 days, they're getting a check, physical check in their hand to put in their bank account. That's incredible.
That's really great. It's exciting to be able to do something for the community. It's exciting to, we have to get through this. I mean, I was on the council with the Great Recession. We had nothing like this, quite frankly. And we were on our own, and if it wasn't for our own piggy bank that we had at the time, our own one-time monies. So I think by utilizing partnerships, piloting and strategic targeting where this money should go, it should help our business stay afloat. Anything else you want to add to that activity? Because I think this is a great topic, and I know we've just covered it at a high level here, but anything else you'd like to add to that before I close today?
Just communication. We want the business community. We want that feedback, what's working for them, as well as we're here to help you, and we're all in this together. And I just really want to applaud Mayor and Council and all of the organizations that are really working together to make Chandler a better place.
I agree, and we'll get through this, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would just add, if you have a question, just call. You can call the chamber, you can call my team, you can call the front desk at the city, and we'll work to get your answers taken care of. We really do support our businesses. We want to see them succeed. We appreciate everything that they've done for our city, so we're trying to find our ways to give back. But if they're encountering any obstacles, don't be shy in reaching out to Terry's team, my team, or anybody else, or even a fellow business. They may have already gone through and said, it's not that scary. It took 15 minutes. So just reach out and ask for that help.
I appreciate it. Well, that completes our first segment. I want to thank Terry.
Thank you.
Very much, Kimball, for coming out here today. Mike and Miranda, thank you very much for you and your team working together. And the partnership's the key right now, and I think that's what we need to do. I mean, that makes us stronger. I mean, that built Chandler many, many years ago, our partnerships, and I think that continue to working together collaboratively. And we'll get through this. I mean, I'm an optimistic person in heart. I know you two are as well. We'll get through this, and like I said, at the end of the day, we could say, "Oh, COVID, what?" So, so that does conclude the first part of our show today. When I come back, we'll be talking to one of the business owners that actually received help from this program, and we'll get his view on how some of the areas that his thoughts are on what worked and what maybe didn't work, and how he's applying his money. Again, thank you very much.
I've worked in a ton of different cities in this industry, and Chandler makes everything about being part of this community incredibly user-friendly. A coworker of mine made me aware of this grant that was going on. I went on the Chandler website, filled out the form, attached all of my invoices in a tax document, emailed that over, and within 24 hours I had a response that it was being processed, and less than a week later it had been approved, and a few days after that we had the check.
On National Donut Day, Mayor Hartke and Councilman Orlando came in for their maple bacon donuts, and then that's when they had mentioned, hey, did you file for the local PPP loan that's done here in the City of Chandler? So I didn't even know about it. So then that's when we set some time aside and they explained exactly what it was, and they said you need to apply for it, and that's how I found out.
I first learned about the PPE grant. I think I heard it on the news or on the radio. Once I heard about it, I went onto the Chandler website, and there was just a short little form I had to fill out. It took me maybe 10 minutes to fill the whole thing out. I think what took the longest was digging up the receipts for the PPE that we'd purchased.
I actually heard from another local business that was looking into it. It was really simple. I mean, I located it online. It took about 30 minutes just to gather all the receipts. We got a response that they had received our application almost immediately, and then less than a week we had received the grant.
When COVID-19 came out and it became a global pandemic, the CDC recommended everyone increase their game, and we've rose to that challenge.
The hand sanitizing stations, we already had some on property, but we obviously increased that tenfold.
Gloves, masks, sanitizer, temperatures are being checked.
We have increased the amount of cleaning touch points more often.
We do a health screening to make sure that they're feeling healthy and no one's feeling sick. We have face shields, bonnets for their hair. I would definitely encourage everybody that's had to spend extra money to definitely, apply for the grant. It's well worth the 10 minutes.
Hello, I'm Councilmember Matt Orlando. If you're just joining us today, we're talking to one of our business owners who received some support from the city and the county and some programs that we have to help our local small businesses. Today I have Ron HARDIN from the owner of Maduro's Fine Cigars in downtown Chandler.
Absolutely.
Ron, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Councilmember Orlando. It's good to be here. Glad for the invite.
You call me Matt, okay?
All right,
I'm,
Matt.
I'm informal, okay?
All right.
So how long have you been in business?
We've been around, we'll be celebrating 11 years, starting our 12th year in February, and we are located off of Alma School, Chandler Heights, down in the Ocotillo area.
Right. I apologize.
And that's okay. And but yeah, it's been 10 years, been blessed around for 10, 11 years. It's pretty good.
Good for you. So obviously you're facing a lot of challenges, like a lot of the small business are in this pandemic going on. So what are some of the challenges you're facing?
Yeah, certainly that uncertainty, is if we were even going to be able to keep the doors open. Those challenges were just the revenue uncertainty. When that was one of those days that you won't forget, with March 13th, something like that.
I remember that, yeah.
It's like, oh, that's the day as a small business owner, trust me, that one's etched in your mind. But having to close down, having to kind of, pivot our business model, we didn't know if we were going to be open. We had to reduce employees because, when you shut down, there's nothing coming in. And then just, with the future, what was that going to hold? So those were some of our immediate challenges.
So you obviously pay rent and you're still paying that, or did you work with the landlord?
Work with the landlord. They were, that's a challenge as well because they have bills too.
Sure.
So I totally get it, but at the same time, they have been working with us to make sure that things work out and it's going okay. So the programs like what the city has been a godsend.
So we talked about that a little earlier in the show. So what program did you apply for, and what are you utilizing those funds for?
Yeah, I chose Chandler
good.
for the employee retention side of things because, I initially had 6, 7 employees. Most in one or two that really qualified full time, and then most were part time. But when that March shutdown came, again, had to call folks and let them go, not realizing if I was going to be able to bring any back. I held on to 2 or 3 at the time, And so that really did, and we did, we kind of went to curbside model, an online model, and that really helped us kind of retain those employees.
So you didn't fully shut down then?
We did not.
Okay, because you had the capacity to go curbside, like you
Yeah,
said.
we did. We moved to a curbside. We went to online, and those two things really helped out. So our online, just happenstance, I decided to do online about a year ago, last November, just to take care of my seasonal folks that when they weren't here, you could still order and we'd ship it to you.
Sure.
Turns out it was just something that really allowed us to pivot to online and start allowing folks, because we were able to do a one-day delivery here in town, or folks that were abroad. So they really worked out.
Well, good for you. And you're being IT background, that was pretty good for you, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I did for a living for 30 years, right?
Well, good for you. Yeah. So, and of course, that created another problem, because now you had to get shipping containers and packages,
Exactly.
things that you probably didn't think about because you
Exactly.
your model was
Yeah.
mostly front end or coming in store, right?
Storefront, right at the counter, cash and go.
Yeah, I remember some of the restaurants telling me one time that there was a shortage of takeout containers because everyone was ordering at the same time, and plastic spoons and forks and napkins. And
Oh, goodness.
so we don't think about that when we transition to business. With a small business owner like you thinks about all those things, and of course the issues you're facing with that.
Absolutely. The supply chain is like you said, in the initial take, it was, oh, wow, what do I need to do to keep my door open?
Right.
And in hindsight, as you got further along, I said, okay, as long as I manage, what's going on and, manage the day-to-day stuff, okay, it'll probably be fine. But you didn't have time to think about, am I going to have enough cigars?
Yes, exactly. No, yeah.
Am I going to have enough boxes?
And that's a good point, because again, this is a worldwide pandemic.
Exactly.
Your supply chain, like you said, was interrupted. I'm sure.
Nicaragua, Central America.
Right.
Then, they were having challenges building boxes. Just, getting to the shipping dock here in Miami, where it's sitting in customs for a longer period of time because they
weren't
cut
working.
folks. I mean, it was huge, big impact to a business
Yeah.
like mine.
Yeah, it's amazing how we don't think about those things when we are a global economy. As I came from I came from a large corporation myself.
Right,
I'm a
right.
global economy, and we just don't think about that when a small business owner like you, and that whole thing's interrupted.
Yeah.
So, what program did you take advantage of, and how much did you receive, and how did you apply that? Help me.
I choose Chandler. It was about $1,300, I think, per employee.
Good.
I want to say that was the number. And what that allowed me to do was retain 3 employees. So we now have 3 staff employees. So it did a couple of things. One, I have a few employees that depend on that little part-time job to be able to, continue their business. They've got other things going on, children, families. And so it allowed me to do a couple of things. One, keep the employees and expand some of their hours. So what we did was we cut back on our business hours. So you weren't paying as long, but paying them at 80%, paying out at 80%
Sure.
was better than paying nothing.
Right. Right. I'm sure you took a cut as well, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure you did. Well, good for you. At least you put your employees first. You understand that.
Absolutely.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without them,
Yeah.
for sure.
So they doing okay?
They are. And, with this, now that we're into the fall, the goal and the hope is that the folks that we have, our seasonal folks, we're right about that time where people should start showing back up in town and in the state. So we have a large part, probably about 20-25% of our revenue comes from those individuals that are here seasonal.
And obviously your online business has done better than you expected, or?
It actually had much more traction than I thought. We are going to do a relaunch and really focus on it, because again, that uncertainty going forward is still there. We just don't know. And so, as I've told folks, I've been managing month to month. No longer am I looking at a year forecast or a 6-month forecast or a 90-day forecast, because that's really how I was running the business. Right now, it's like, okay, this 30 days, next 30 days. So I've got about a 60-day window that I'm looking at all times. You just don't know.
So what are the challenges you think we're going to be looking at in the next few months? Like you said, you really had to narrow down your window of your strategies as well as tactics to keep your business afloat.
Yeah, really, making sure that the expansion is there on the online side. also making sure that, or not making sure, but hopefully we get a return of folks that are coming, because we have, Canadian as well as U.S. Seasonal folks. So I've got that Sun Lakes corridor in the Ocotillo corridor. So I'm looking forward to that over that next 6-month window.
Good for you. Well, it is tough times. And like I said, I'm glad I could bring you in today and chat a little bit about some of the issues you're facing. It's no different than a lot of other corporations, different issues, online versus seasonal versus other things like that. But the employees are being safe. And that's the other thing we talked about this too, for the consumer to feel safe.
Yes.
That drives your business too. And what are you doing in that area?
Yeah, it really does. So yeah, we changed our regiment because, I've got a lounge. So back to the point of closing, so we were able to remain open, but we had cash and carry. So we had to close the lounge, right? Because I have a public lounge and a private lounge. Close the lounges. And what that's changed in our behaviors is, we've done the social distancing. We've moved the chairs apart. And we, as someone gets up and exits, we make sure that we, clean the area where they were sitting down, so for the next person to come in. Now that's what we've changed that. So it's really changed some of the. We've put up signs on our restrooms that encourage people to wash their hands, cover their mouths, those type of things.
Again, that costs money.
It does.
So yeah, those little things like that we talked about earlier in the show. Well, Ron, we're running out of time here. Unfortunately, I could spend probably another half hour with you.
Likewise.
You're great. You're a great person, and I really appreciate you, taking the entrepreneurial spirit and working with us in the city and the partnerships that we're put together. So thank you, and good luck to your business. So
thank you very much.
I'll try to get down there a little bit. I remember my grandfather used to smoke old stogies, so nothing elaborate as yours, but he used to smoke those old stogies for years. I think he chewed on them more than anything else.
I get that quite a bit. Yeah, we do.
Well, this concludes another Chandler in Focus. I'm reminding everyone to please work with our local small businesses. They are trying their best to be safe and make sure your safety and your concern are taken into consideration. And if you feel unsafe or something, let the owner know, because they definitely want to improve whatever the process is and to make sure you do feel safe and comfortable so you'll come back to the stores. Thank you for watching. Please be safe, and we'll see you next time.